Okay, so before we move on to the second part of this handout, I want to let you check the questions over here. Question 9. So these are map skills where the ratio doesn't have units. So if the ratio doesn't have units, automatically you can take them as cm to cm. Okay, and both sides they should have the same units. Alright, so question 9 here on the map, the distance between two houses is 9 cm. So here from the ratio itself, what I do is I'm going to substitute 9 into the ratio and put x as the unknown, which is the actual distance between the house. Okay, so from here we will do cross multiplication and you will get that x equals to 9 times 4000, which is straight 36,000, and you will find that the actual distance is 36,000 cm. But the question asks you to give your answer is meter, so you need to change it to meter. Okay, similar to this question, skill drawing is 1 to 20. In real life, the length of the boat is 150 meters. So what is the actual length on skill drawing? Okay, the skill drawing means it's on the map. Okay, so first we have a skill drawing of 1 to 20. This is the scale, and then for here, if you want to substitute the value, you need to convert your meters into cm first, because here you are using cm. All right, so here you cross multiply, you get 750 cm. Okay, so you can pause the video and check whether your answers are correct. Okay, for question 9 and 10. So that one will be maps and skill. Okay, now we'll be looking into direct and indirect proportion, which will look into more detail on how we actually can use certain ratios to happen. Alright, so we have two parts, which is direct and indirect. So for direct proportion here, what does it mean by direct proportion? When we say that one variable, okay, is directly proportional to another variable, it means that when one of the quantity increases, the another quantity also increases. Okay. Alright, and they increase at the same rate. Okay, this is called a constant. Right, a constant. Alright, constant. Alright, and if let's say the quantity decreases, the other also decreases at the same rate. Alright, so mathematically, the definition, two quantities x and y are directly proportional if they have a ratio that is constant. Okay, so how do we usually do it? We usually do it as y equals to kx. So y is a variable 1, x is a variable 2, or you want to say quantity 1 or quantity 2 is the same thing. Okay, then k, this is the ratio that is constant. Okay, then the key characteristic is that the constant ratio is y over x, right? The ratio is always, because if you want to make it as a subject, you want to find the ratio, you will need to do your working. Okay, so to make k as a subject, what do you do is you put x to the other side. So y over x equals to k. This is what I mean by the first point. Why do I need to remember this one? Because most of the question will need you to find out what is the constant first. Okay, and for this kind of graph, let's say if I say two variables, x and y, they have a linear relationship. When one increases, the other also increases at the same rate, we will have a straight line graph. So here I want you to remember what does straight line graph stand for. It's a linear graph. Alright, so here, let's say for example, if you have a graph, the graph will look like that. Okay, so you have x, y. So you will find out that the rate is k. How they are jumping from one point to another point. Okay. Then the slope is the k. Yeah, this is what I mentioned lah. The slope is the k. You can see they are moving at the same. So let's say for example, like that. So you have different points, over here, over here, over here, over here. So what happened is when this point come to this point, this point come to this point, this point come to this point, they are all k. The value is k. The slope is k. No change. Okay, it's consistent. Okay, so now we'll be solving the problems. How do we usually solve the problems? Usually the question will ask you, they will give you one variable, give you a value of y, give you a value of x. And then they want you to find certain value after they give you another value of x, something like that. So how to solve certain problems? First thing is, you need to form y equals to kx. You need to put this in this format. Second, you need to make k as a subject. Make k as a subject, find the value of k. This is your ratio. Then you substitute k into the y equals to kx for, then you sub values to find the unknown. Okay, so these are the 4 steps that you need to remember. So let's say if you need a time, you can pause the video and then write down these notes first. Okay, so work example here we will have is if y is directly proportional to x. This means that we are using what formula? Y equals to kx. Okay, then y equals to 15, x equals to 5. Find the value of x equals to 12. So they give you some value first. If today y equals to 15, x equals to 5, then what would be y if x equals to 12? So here they give you information for you to form your y equals to kx. So for example here, first thing for the first step is to write the equation in y equals to kx first. Here they didn't give me an equation, so I'm just going to write y equals to kx. Then they give me the value, so I need to find the value of k, right? So for me to find the value of k, make k as a subject, y over x. So what is y, what is x? The question already gives you. Y is 15, x is 5. So here I know that k equals to 3. So from here you substitute your k into the y equals to kx, you will get y equals to 3x. Therefore, when x equals to 12, y equals to 3 times 12, which is 36. Then this is your answer. So can you see the steps? First step, y equals to kx first. Second step, sub k, find k. Okay, find the value of k so that you form the equation over here. And then lastly, you find the question. You find the answer for the question. So there are 4 steps important that you need to know. Okay, so we have looked into direct proportion. Now you will look into what does it mean by indirect proportion. Okay, so now what does indirect proportion means? When indirect proportion, let's say for example, I say y is indirectly proportional to x. What does this mean? This means if let's say one value increases, the other value will decrease on the same rate. Okay, if one value decreases, let's say the one that I say y decreases, then the other will increases. So means that it's opposite, right? So when it increases, the other decreases, or when one decreases, the other increases, and it's also at the same rate. Okay, but one thing that is different is from what we see from here. Okay, sometimes you might in some book you will see that they give you this symbol one. So let's say if it's direct proportion, is y directly proportional to x. But when we say when y is indirectly proportional to x, what we will do is we will say y is indirectly proportional to 1 over x. So when we want to convert it with k, because we still have the constant ratio, right? The same rate over here. So we will usually write it this way. Or sometimes people will write it as this way. Both also work. let me write it the side by side so you can see. So it up to your preference whether you want it to be k over x or you want it to be k multiplied 1 over x. Okay, so the same thing, y and x are the variables, are the quantities. K is your rate. Alright, so here you can see the symbol here I mentioned, no? Y is directly proportional to 1 over x. Okay, now the key characteristic is that xy is always equals to ky. So this means, let's say for example, if you want, because remember the first one that we mentioned, you need to find the value of k. So how do we usually do it is y equals to k over x. So when you make k as a subject, you multiply x and y. So this is important for you to find out what is the value of k. So one is y over x. One is ky multiply x. Okay, and the graph is usually hyperbola. So what does it mean by hyperbola? Okay, so here let's draw a simple graph here. Okay, so how does indirect inverse proportion graph usually do is it will be, okay, let me draw this slightly lower bit. So indirect proportion graph will come in a hyperbola, which is like that. Indirect proportion. Okay, so you compare the one that we saw up there. Direct proportion is a straight line, right? Going up or going down. Okay, here you can add one more graph. Direct proportion can also mean this one. I think you just have to remember this one. Okay, just remember this one will do. So direct proportion, when one increases, the other increases. For this one, when one increase, the other doesn't increase that much. So for example, let's say for example, you see this is 1, right? So let's say here is the higher one. High one here is around maybe 10. Okay, so when 1 go up all the way here, and then here, this is 10, right? Can you see? When x equals to 1, y equals to 10. But when x increases, let's say for example, until the value of 10. So when x is 10, right? Here, x is 10, but then can you see the value of y is very, very small until here, maybe 0.5. So can you see when x increases, y decreases. This is what we call indirect proportion. Okay, this is how the graph should look like. Okay, and one thing that you can also remember, asymptotes. The graph approaches the x-axis and y-axis but never reaches them. Why is this so? So let's say for example, if you remember, what if my graph touches the x-axis? The y value will become 0. Okay, this is one thing you need to remember. If my graph touches the x-axis, my y value is equals to 0. Or if my graph touches the x-axis, my x touches the y-axis, my x value equals to 0. This is the intercept, right? So we cannot have x and y equals to 0. Okay, because in a fraction you cannot have that equals to 0. For example, the first one. Okay, this one you need to write down. X and y must not equals to 0. Why is this so? So let's say for example, I'm looking at y equals to k over x. Okay, if today my value, if x equals to 0, means that we are doing k over 0. Then this is an extra knowledge for you to know. If your denominator is 0, your entire equation is infinity. Your value is infinity. So this is not valid. Right? This is not valid. But if let's say y equals to 0. If y equals to 0, k equals to 0. Cross multiplication mark. Or, because it's very simple, anything that you divide, anything on the numerator that is 0, you divide anything below at the denominator, it still gives you 0. So when we say it's equals to 0, right, the numerator automatically is the 0. Right? So it means that k equals to 0, which is not valid also. So both are not valid. So that's why our graph, right, it doesn't touch the y-axis and x-axis, because if they touch it, means either y or x will be 0. And if they are 0, we cannot use that for our equation, because our value will not be the same. Okay, so this is something to remember. Okay, k cannot be 0 and y cannot be infinity as well. Okay, so let's look at the question. We have the 4 steps. Remember, in your head, it's the same thing that we need to do. First thing is, you need to write out the equation. The question says, if y is inversely proportional to x, means that this is y equals to k over x. Right? K over x, or k 1 over x. Depends on which one you are more comfortable. Okay, then they give you the value, y equals to 4, x equals to 6. So in this case, we just have to put in the values, find the equation, and then put in the remaining values to find y. So the first one I will do is, I put in my equation first. Alright, then substitute y equals to 4, substitute x equals to 6. Then you will get that k equals to x times y, right? So it's 4 times 6. So you have 24. So this is the rate. Therefore, y equals to 24 over x. So when x equals to 6, y equals to 24 divided by 6, you will get, 3. The question asks for 3. When x equals to 3, and 3, y equals to 8. So it's the same 4 steps. We have 1 step. Okay, here we have 2. Here, this one is, you have to find k. Second step, form the equation, find the value. Okay, they are quite straightforward over here. Okay, so now I want you to pause the video. Okay, go through these 5 questions that I prepared in the in-class practice. Try to do. They are just some beginner question that we are going to look at. So try to pause this question maybe around 10 to 15 minutes, and then try to attempt all the questions, because it's the same thing that we are looking at. Alright, then resume the video and then check your answer over here. I will go through each question for you. Okay, so you can pause the video now. Okay, so I assume, let's say you already have finished. Okay, but before that, please pause the video. But I'm just going to straight away keep the recording going and then discuss each question with you. Okay, so now the first one, the question asks for the formula that connect P and Q. Okay, formula that connect P and Q. So to form the formula P and Q is just the first step and the second step. The first step is, because they say that it's directly proportional, so P equals to KQ. Right? To form the equation means that you need to sub in the value of P and Q to find out what is the value of the constant. So in this case, when P equals to 3.5, okay, K equals to, not yet K, then Q equals to 14. Right? So when you put K as a subject, you will need to do y over x, which is 3.5 divided by 14. Okay, then there is where you get your value of k, which is your constant. So 3.5 divided by 14, here you should get 0.25. Or if you want to put in fraction, you can put 1 over 4. Same thing. So when you form an equation, P equals to 0.25, Q, one of them. So this is your equation. Secondly, when we have P, then here you have find the value of P when Q equals to 22. So now we have the equation already, so we just have to put in the values. So find the value of P when Q equals to 22. Okay, and here we have 0.25 times 22. So here we have 5.5. C over here. Then let's say the question says you want to find Q, means that when P equals to 0.25, you need to substitute P equals to 1.25 equals to 0.25 times Q. So make Q as a subject, you get 1.25 divided by 0.25. So you can press your calculator over here. So you will get 0.25, you should get 5. Okay, so question A, B, C. Now question 2, same thing, we need to find the formula first. So we find the formula that connects R and S. R is inversely proportional, so R is inversely proportional if R equals to 8, S equals to 5. So now still the same thing, we need to find a constant first. So I have R equals to K over S, right? When R equals to 8, S equals to 5. So K equals to R times S, which is 5 times 8, you will get 40. This means your formula is R equals to 40 over S. Okay, B. So using this formula, I'm going to find out R and S based on B and C question. So R, you want to find R. So R equals to, what is R when S is 10? So R equals to 40, S is 10, you get 4. And then same thing for C, where R equals to 40 over S. When R equals to 20, 40 over S, then S, you have to cross multiply it so that you get S equals to 40 divided by 20. You should get 8. Okay. Now, next question, we'll look at some problems to solve the problems, okay? So here, I have the cost of printing flyer is directly proportional. So always remember, when you see directly proportional, please automatically put Y directly proportional X, which means Y equals to KX. Okay, so let's say the cost of printing is Y, X is the number of copies that's being printed. So up to you how you want to put the values or the algebra. Then they say that printing 500 flyers will cost 75. If I know that Y is the cost, X is the number of printers. So this means, here they give you the value already. You want to print 500 means that this is X. You want to cost $75, this is Y. Okay, so how much would be printing 1,200 flyer will cost? So this one is the X. And then they want you to find the cost. So it's the same thing actually, we just have to form the formula and then put in the value. So Y equals to KX, where Y is the cost, okay, and X is the number of printing. So the question say if you print 500, means that on the right hand side you put 500, it will cost you $75. So in this case, your ratio is 75 divided by 500. So you can put 75 divided by 500. So here your rate is 0.15. Okay, then with this one you then form Y equals to 0.15x. This is the formula. Then use this formula to find out how much will it cost if you want to print 1,200. So Y equals to 0.15. Remember, X is the number of flyers you want to print. So you put in 1,200. So when you put in 0.15 multiply 1,200, you will get a cost of $180. Okay. Now, next, the time taken, okay, is inversely proportional to the number of identical holes used. Alright, so let's say for here when you're reading a question, put in the value. So let's say I want the time taken is T, I put inversely proportional. Okay, means that you need to do 1 over something. right? The number of identical hosts is used there. I put H. Okay, let's say the hook H. So they say with H equals to 4, the time taken is only 6. How long will it take if, let's say, I have 8 hosts? So they want you to find what is the T value. So same thing, we'll form the formula. So we have T equals to inversely proportional, means that is K over H, the number of hosts, right? The question says that if the number of hosts is 4, the time taken is 6, right? So then K equals to 24 also, 6 times 4. Now with this one, I can form my formula, which is T over 24 over H. If today, then they say that how long will it take, so the time taken for 8 hosts, so means that is 24 divided by H equals to 8. So here you have 3 hours. Okay, this is also quite simple. Okay, then for these are all actually more subjective questions that we want to think of. Okay, so the question asks you to explain for each pair A, B, C, D, state if it's a direct, inverse, or neither. Means that whether the proportion is direct. Direct, remember, when one increases, the other increases. For indirect is when one increase, the other goes the opposite, which is decrease. Or there's neither, means that we are not sure what is the proportion. There might not be a proportion. Not every time that we have a proportion. So let's say, for example, look at the first one. The age of used car means that the age of the used car and its selling price. Okay, so this one is very similar to how actually you see some second-hand cars it works. So let's say the longer the car, let's say you buy a new car and then you use it for 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, 4 year, all the way until 10 years, and you want to sell the car. So the car is 10 years old, right? So when you want to resell the car, of course you cannot sell it at the price that you bought it, right? It must depreciate a bit. So in this case, when the age of the car increases, means that when it's getting older and older, your selling price should decrease. Okay, because it's a second-hand car. It's not as new as when you bought it already. So in this case, this will be an indirect proportion. Okay, next, the number of identical machines working and the time taken to complete an order. Okay, so in this case, if you have more machines to work, means that is, let's say you have more machines working, of course you will take shorter time, right? Shorter time to complete an order also. So here you will have indirect proportion also. Yeah, be careful. Time taken when the shorter the time, the faster it is. So some people will think that faster means that it's going up. No. Okay. So when you have more machines working together to complete an order, it will decrease the time for you to complete that particular order. Okay, next, the distance traveled by a car. So the distance traveled by a car at a constant speed means that you are traveling a very long distance, right? Let's say if you are traveling at a very long distance, and then you are looking at how many petrol you use. Of course, if you drive far, you will use more petrol, correct or not? And some more you are driving on a constant speed, some more, right? So in this case, this one is quite straightforward. It's a direct proportion, because the further you pursue, the further you drive, the further you travel, you will use more petrol. Alright, second one, your exam scores and the number of hours you spend playing video games at night before. Okay, this one I want to mention first. Yes, although some people will tell you that you play more games, maybe you will have lower exam score. Okay, but that is not true. Okay, for this, there is no direct relationship between exam score and number of hours you spend on video games. Okay, so this one is neither. Okay, there's no direct relationship. It's not like you confirm if you play more games, you confirm you get lesser marks. That's not confirmed. Okay, so yes, this one is a bit tricky. There's a lot like a gray area, but I want you to at least know how to differentiate indirect and direct proportion first. Okay, because exam score can be determined by a lot of other factors. Okay, so is this one for this particular statement, there's no cause and effect relationship. Means that it doesn't mean that if you play more games you confirm will get lower scores. No, but let's say if you look at C, if you travel for long distance, confirm the petrol you use will be more. This one is direct, there's a cause and effect relationship. But for D, no. Okay. Okay, so now let's look at the homework section. Okay, this is the part that I want you to do, but I will need to go through some questions with you first. I will go through especially the first one to explain a few how does the mechanics work over here. So to transform them in y equals to kx and state the value of x, y, and k. Alright, so here is what we will do is we will try to make them into y equals to kx, to make them into our format that we want. Okay, so let's say for example the first one, when y equals to 15, x equals to 3. So this one, your y equals to kx, okay, form should be, let's say if it's 15 over k times 3, then your k equals to 5, right? Therefore, your y equals to kx should be y equals to 5x. Okay, next one would be 2y equals to 1 over 3 x. Here you can convert them into y. You push the 2 over to the other side, so it's divided by 2. So when it's divided by 2, you should get x over 6, or 1 over 6 over x. Okay, this is y equals to 2 over x. Then you will ask, how to put them into x value? Actually, it's the same thing. You just have to put them 1 over 2 times 1 over x. The x is 1, the x that we mentioned here is actually 1 over x. Okay, this one you can put them y equals to square, right? Square root bring over will be square. You should get 1 over 16x squared. Then this one, the whole x squared is x. Okay, then I will skip the question 5 first. Alright, so here I have y equals to 4x cubed. Here is already y equals to kx format already. So you will ask, where is the x? The x is actually x cubed. Okay, then 7 is also the same thing. What we will do is we'll put y as the subject. So it will be 2y minus 1 equals to x. Alright, so we bring over x plus 1. Then y equals to 2x plus 1. So this is y equals to kx. Okay, you can see this is y kx. Just that behind you have a plus c. But this is okay, this is very rare. We usually don't really see this kind of thing for the question 7. They are still linear, they are still proportional. Okay, so this is a quite straightforward one, but now I want to talk about question 5. The question says that I want you to show that M and B, they are proportional. If you want to say that they are directly proportional, means that for every pair of M and B, the K value is the same. Okay, so now let's say for example I'm going to take one value. So for example, for M equals to 2, B equals to 50. Okay, K value, right? Remember this is directly proportional, so you'll be doing something like that. M equals to K times B, K equals to M divided by B, right? So in this case, if M equals to 2, B equals to 50, here we will have 1 over 20. Right? Next, you need to prove. Let's say, for example, for then this one, your equation you get should be m equals to 1 over 20 times b. Okay, times b. So let's say for the next one will be for, let's say for 4 lah, for m equals to 4, b equals to 100. Okay, then what is the k value? So k value, I should we use this formula, m over b. So m over b. So you get 1 over 20. Okay, we have no, this is 25. Okay, then your m equals to 1 over 25 times b. Okay, then I look at the next pair. For m equals to 5, b equals to 1 to 5. So I have k equals to, I also use the same formula. Okay, m is 5, 1 to 5. Yeah, I think I did something wrong with the first one. This one should be 1 over 25. Sorry. Yeah, 1 over 25. Yes. Then this one is also 1 over 25. So what do you realize? The k values, they are all the same. Alright, this is 1 over 25. Okay, the k values are all the same. If you do for the rest, it's the same. So how do you show that they are the same? You can just straight away say, since the k values are the same for each pair of m and b, m and b are directly proportional. Sure. So this whole thing is the solution. Okay. Alright, so this is for you to check the answers. Okay, now I'll be looking through on this part for you. Alright, so here are mainly the graphs, right? So I'll be showing you 2 questions, and I want you to try out the one of the question would be, I think it's the question 4 over here. Okay, so what are we going to do is we're going to draw a graph based on these values that we have. So we have x value, x over here. Then we have the y axis over here. Y, x, right? So let's say x, I have 3. So here I need to determine the scale first. I have 3, 6, 9, 12, and 15 is a multiple of 3. So what you can make it simple for this graph, and because of the grid itself, you can straight away do 3, 6, 9, 12. Okay, I'm making, I want to make it bigger. Let me try it, right? Okay, I'll do 3, 6, 9, 12, 15. Okay, then next y, I want to do 12, 24, 36, 48, and 60. So here we can do, because this one they are adding 12 for everyone. 36 plus 12, yes. So I think I will also just do a simple one. This one you don't have to care so much on the unit first. I'm just going to put in this way, 12. Okay, because it's a multiple of 12. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to plot. So when x equals to 3, this is the point. So I just have to plot. So you just have to plot in now. Okay, and then we draw a line. What's here is 0. Okay, so you can see this is a straight line, right? It's a straight line graph. So it is directly proportional. Okay, you can pause the video while you're still plotting the graph, but this is how a directly proportional should look like. And then how do I determine the k value? Very simple only, right? You look from point to point, from here to here, okay? This is the slope. Okay, this is the slope. So here we have two values, right? We have two blocks. If two blocks means that this is 12. 12, the value of 12. And then here we have two blocks, so this is 3. So for k is actually 12 divided by 3. So you will get 4. This is the ratio. What does this mean? This means every jump they take, okay, the slope is 4. And it's constant. That's why it's a straight line. Okay? Okay, so you can take a look on this. Okay, so now for this question 2, I want you to give it a try. Over here, you can pause the video and then try it on your own. And then after that, check from this video and I'll be showing you how does the graph will look like. Okay, so this one you can pause and then go through the question and then put in the values and then draw out the graph. And be careful on how are you going to plot the scale. Like how are you going to, like for example, like what I did is I put two boxes in between for each scale. Okay, so I want you to try this question. Okay, so this is supposed to be how your graph would look like. Okay, so you have your x and also your y over here. Okay, now let's look at question 4 over here. Okay, now water is poured into a cylinder with a base radius r cm. So look at the cylinder here. Okay, here. Okay, and the height of the water in the cylinder is hcm. So you have a r over here and then we have a h. Height of the water, but I'm not so sure how much is it. It will be h. Okay, now the table shows the height of the water changes with the base radius. So if the base radius is 14916, then you can see 5 is 1.25, 0 and 10. So what do you realize? You realize when the radius increases, the height decreases. Okay, so we want to sketch an inverse and direct proportion graph. So this one is actually or. Okay, you need to choose. Do you think this is an inverse or direct proportion? So in this case, we can tell this is actually a inverse proportion because when one value increases, the other decreases. When the base radius increase, the height of the water decreases. Okay, so now what we're going to do is just we're going to plot them. So I'm going to plot them 14916 on the bottom. Okay, now because we are just choosing inverse proportion, so I have 1, 4, 9 and 16. So I have 1, 4, 9, 16 over here. Okay, then I want to put in my values for 5, 1.25, 0.2. So you can tell is from the very high value over here. So for here, what I think we can do is you can put in okay, so here I think the scale you can put it this way so that it's easier. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the last one will be 5 here. Okay, why are we not enough space? 1, 2, 3. Here. Okay. Okay, yeah, something like that. So from here, wait, not enough space. Okay, now Mike, can you help me from here? You can help me add one more column. Just have to use your ruler and add one more column because I want to use this here. Just add one more column. Okay. Okay, so this one I'm not that particular with how are you going to scale your graph because this is not the actual graph that we are looking at sometimes. So I'm just going to do it so that you get the know how does the graph will look like. If let's say today I'm using the actual graph paper, then yes, we will need to be very particular with the scale. So here I have 5. Okay, I'll put 1. So 1, 2, 3, 4 will be 4 boxes for 1. Okay, 1, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so how does this work is, so let's say for example, when x equals to 1, the height of the water is 5, so it will be here. Okay, and then when x equals to 4, when it increases, right, it should drop all the way until 125. Right, drop away until 125, 1.25, so it will be here. Okay, then after that it go down to 0.3 to 125. Right, so for this one, right, one box is 0.25, so 0.3 will be somewhere around here. Okay, then next is the rest is 0.25, so is we know that here is what 0.25, so it will be somewhere here. So can you see how does the graph look like? The graph is a curve. Okay, so it's indirect proportion. Okay, so for your homework, I want you to try out question 4. Okay, I want you to draw out question 4. So how does this work? Okay, I want to mention on this one. If the question say you need to draw a graph t against v, means that you're using the values straight away from here. But the question here change again. I want you to draw the graph t equals to 1 over v. What does this mean? Means that for all the values of v, you need to find out what is the value if you do their reciprocal. So let's say for example, okay, if today my v equals to 90, I want to plot 1 over v means that I need to put 1 over v, which is 1 over 90. Okay, so this is the value that you need to put on your axis. Okay, so what the question wants you to do is they want you to plot two graphs. Okay, so plot both of these two graphs, okay, on these two separate grids. Okay, so here I can give you some guidance first. So your graph, suppose one of the graph needs to be t, okay, so it's t, . Okay, and this one. Here will be T, here will be 1 over V. Okay, so you have two graphs. Okay, so you need to convert first. So this one you can do directly from the question, directly from the values you can get directly from the table. But for this one, you need to convert first. Convert first, then only plot. You need to convert all the V values. V values to what? To 1 over V first. Okay, so this is some small tips on question 4 that I want to give you first, then you can do. Okay, the T you don't have to change because it's the same thing. You don't have to change. It's just to change the V only. Then from there, you will see something special. Okay, you will see something quite special from there. Okay, so this is a homework that I want you to do at home for question 4. Okay, question 5, you can also wait, let me see if I need to go through any of the question given the yeah, so question 5 can also answers all the questions over here. All right, and this will be the homework for both. Okay, so for this one, the only thing that I want you to put into more effort, and then the thing is question 4 most importantly, and question 5 for your homework. So only these two questions I need you to do as a homework. Okay, so that's all for today.